So good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Torch University, Part 2, where we discuss this week's Torah portion. And if we look in Parshas CHAYEI, before we talk about what we're learning in our regular studies of Breakneck through the Bible, which we're up to page 553 in the Schottenstein edition, Chumash. And we're up to chapter 31, verse 18. But before we get there, I just want to talk for a second about this week's Parsha, or for my Syrian friends out there, Parasha. And in this week's Parsha, we have Abraham is coming back home to see his wife. He's all excited to tell her about the great mitzvah of being ready to slaughter his son. For what? For the sake of his connection with the Almighty. He's showing his commitment and dedication to God, and in so doing, he was ready to bind up Isaac and bring him as an offering in front of the Almighty. So the question is, right, he gets home. One second, we'll talk about the question in a second. He gets home. He finds his wife not among the living anymore. She's passed away. So now he has to bury her. So he goes to Hebron, and he wants to find a plot to bury her in. So he finds the plot, which is today known as the Ma'arat HaMachpelah, which is the cave of the doubles, right? Because there were all doubles who were buried there. Adam and Eve, Abraham and Sarah, later Isaac and Rebekah, and then later after that was Jacob and Leah. And these are all couples, and Abraham knew that this was the property he needed to really get his hands on. So he goes and he says, who owns this land? Who can I purchase this field from? So the guy says, oh, it's such an honor, Abraham. We all know of you as such a great, righteous person. Why don't you just take the field? Just take the field. He says, no, I really want to pay for it. No, just take the field. He says, no, I really want to pay for it. Okay, no problem. 400 gold coins, right? 400 gold coins. And you think that, he's going to start fighting with this, for this guy. Why would he fight for such a thing? You just told me it's going to be free. Now you started charging me. Not only charge me, you charge me a premium. Why are you charging me a premium? 400 gold coins. Imagine it's the equivalent of, $400,000. It's an outrageous sum. That's question number one. Why did Abraham take this in stride? No problem. Gave him the money and goodbye. The second question is, right after he buries, right after he acquires the land, verse number 17 in this week's Parsha, chapter 23, it says, Vayakam ste Ephron. And the field of Ephron rose up. It was elevated. The field was elevated. He didn't have excavators there. He didn't have tractors there. What do you mean the field was elevated? So we'll see both of these very, very briefly. So first is, why didn't Abraham fight? I think this is a very, very important principle. We love honesty. We love justice. We love when people, say what they're going to do and they do it, and they're honest. They say something and they do exactly what they say. That's great. That's what we're looking for. But what happens when it comes to money? We take that to an extreme. Why? There's some type of connection, like we discussed several weeks already, something that people have with money which is irrational. Now let me ask you the question. How many people do we know, each of us around the table here, and those of you online, how many people do we know that have lost siblings, lost relatives, lost parents because of fighting about money? We all know, everyone's nodding. We all know people who've lost family because of a fight about money, whether it's an inheritance, whether it's about a partnership, whether it's about, there's so much. Why? And it's all about money. It's all about money. Is it worth to lose family over money? Is it worth to lose relationships over money? This is, I think, an important lesson that Abraham's teaching us. You know what? I'm right, he's wrong. I'm still going to give him the money. You know why? It's not worth fighting about money. You can fight about a lot of things. Don't fight about money. That's point number one. Point number two is we said that the field got elevated. So our sages tell us a fundamental principle. And the fundamental principle is that you, as a human being, have the power to influence the physical objects around you. Take this bottle of water. So you take this bottle of water. I drink this bottle of water, and my friend drinks this bottle of water. Same, similar, identical bottle. He takes the drink, or perhaps I take the drink, and I make a blessing and I drink, and the other doesn't. Are we drinking the same water?
Yes.
No. We're not drinking the same water. Why? Because one elevated the physical and the other left the physical mundane. One took that physical and used it as a tool to connect to a higher level of connection with God, while the other one just let it be physical. Let it remain physical. Abraham was on such a spiritual level where the things that he possessed, the physical things that he possessed, the car that he possessed, if he had a car, but the property that he possessed, the home that he possessed, the clothes that he possessed, was on a much higher spiritual level. It got elevated to his spirituality. It's a concept that it's very hard for us in this modern day culture to even realize, that there is such a power. There's a power for us to connect to the physical and elevate it and bring it up so that it doesn't stay physical. Because if we use those items, there's a great story I like to share. I'm going to probably share this next Monday at the Musar Mondays class that starts at 7:30 every Monday. And next week, because of Thanksgiving this week, we're going to learn about the topic of gratitude. And one of the interesting lessons that I'll be sharing on Monday is a story that my mother told me that she learned about a great tzaddik who lived in the city where we grew up. Now, when this great tzaddik passed away, my mother went to pay a shiva call at this great righteous man's wife, very special woman. And she said the following story. She said that her husband, whenever he had a pair of pants that were all worn out, he would fold it up really, really nicely, as if it was, brand new. He would fold it up really nicely, and he'd put it on his bed. And every day, he'd move it over a little bit towards the end of the bed, a little bit more towards the end of the bed. And every time he'd do that, he would, move his hands along the pants lovingly and say, "Thank you for keeping me warm. Thank you for dressing me, for making me look so good, right? Thank you for serving me so incredibly, so loyally." To him, the pants weren't just an item. He took that pants and elevated it. It was elevated through that partnership. It wasn't just an object. Today we have people have such an overabundance of items. We don't know how to appreciate them. Do we know how to appreciate our car? We drive tens of thousands of miles in our car, in our car, and then when we're getting rid of it or selling it, it's just like, here's the keys, take it, go, right? Do what you want, Just say stop and say thank you. Thank you for taking me so many places. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for driving safely, right? take that physical item and elevate it. And we can do that every day through all the things that we have. You know, it says that the Jewish people in the desert were on such a high spiritual level that their clothes didn't wear out. Imagine 40 years you have the same shirt.
You might smell.
And there's, no, it didn't smell either. Didn't smell. Imagine for 40 years you wear the same clothes and it's fresh and it's clean. Incredible, because they're on such a high spiritual level that the laws of physical nature didn't apply to those objects. Abraham was at that level as well. The field that he purchased to bury Sarah rose up. It became spiritual to the level of Abraham, not like the lowly level of Ephron, the person he purchased it from. So the message that we learn from this in this week's Parsha is that use the physical objects that you have to elevate you spiritually. To elevate you spiritually. And to elevate those around you spiritually. You have something, use it. Use it and use it as a tool to grow. Right? And a good point here that my friend Ike is pointing out here on Facebook Live. He's saying, if we have to be so careful for objects, even more so, we have to be careful for other human beings. Don't think of other human beings as just plain objects, right? They can also be elevated. Lift them up. All right? So thank you, Ike. All right, everybody. We're going to turn off our Facebook Live. Join us again Thursday morning. Thursday morning we are going to have class, a special Thanksgiving edition of the Thursday morning class. So we'll do a little Facebook Live as well then. Till then, go to torchweb.org/18 to join us for our grand opening on December 3rd at 8 p.m. Saturday night. As we open up the doors to our brand new center, our beautiful new center, and also as we celebrate our 18th anniversary of Torch in Houston. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.